Hello, welcome to the first video in a very long time in the Derby County TV channel. I can't quite remember what I named the channel, to be frankly honest. But start of a new season, I think it's a good time to start making some content, and we are joined by Khan. How you doing, mate?
Oh, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Not bad. I'm excited for Saturday with Wigan coming up. We've got some talking points. What would the first one be?
So it's to kind of see how you rank the 7 signings that we've signed so far.
Mm,
So, if you've seen any of them in pre-season or kind of know them from other clubs, kind of your opinion on them, or
yeah,
you might not have an opinion at all, as I don't with some of them. So, the
yeah.
first one I was going to go with is Sonny Bradley because that's the one I kind of
hmm
know the most. So, what's your opinions on him?
I think well, it's a topic that we'll get onto shortly, but he's captain material. You know, he's a leader, and we kind of needed that with Curtis Davies coming out of the team. You need somebody like Sonny Bradley. You know, he's maybe not played that much last season at Luton, but I'm sure behind the scenes he would have done a lot. And obviously, been promoted from League One with Plymouth, I think. No, with Luton, sorry, obviously. I don't know why. I just remember him at Luton.
Yeah.
At Plymouth, he was very good indeed, though. But yeah, Luton, he got the promotion, and then obviously he's kept Luton in the Championship, and now they're promoted to the Premier League, which you just wouldn't expect.
Exactly, and I mean, we'll move on to it as well with the lineups later. I think that he fits quite nicely in the centre of a back
Hmm.
three.
Yeah,
So, as you've also said, with the age of Sonny Bradley and the experience of getting promoted, you'll be able to see that he'll be able to command them and especially the younger players around him, be
yeah.
able to manage. As of course, last season we really only had Davis when he was fit and Forsyth that were like the experienced players for Derby. Of course, now Horahan's got a season under his belt, and of course, we've got more older players coming into the lineup. It'll be good to
Yeah,
see what he can do with that team.
he's a good 7 or 8 out of 10, I'd say. Sonny Bradley as a signing on a free as well. There's no money paid. Who's the next player?
Um, Moving on to someone that's going to play to the right of him, Curtis Nelson.
Hmm. I think slightly younger, isn't he? What is he? 30? Yeah, about a year and a half younger. Again, a lot of experience with Cardiff and Blackpool. Not too much with Blackpool, but if that's what Paul Warren wants in that defence, then I can't really complain. I remember him at Cardiff really well, so obviously
I
Blackpool's a
think
difficult place to play.
I think he's got kind of the pace as well as cash in his young legs to kind of cover the
Hmm.
fullback positions, if that makes sense. So, of
Yeah.
course, that gives the chance, for example, if we've got, say, Todd Kane on the right or someone who's a bit slower in Forsyth on the left, they can
Hmm.
be covered. So it gives them the chance to push on and kind of cross into the box and provide to the front men. Is that's something that, of course, James Collins needs. He kind of wants to attack the ball. He doesn't want to link it all up in the middle of the park with everyone else.
Yeah. Next signing,
Callum Elder.
I think a good one for that left hand side. I might be tempted to look at another left hand side wing back because at the minute, I don't know if Sibley's going to end up being there, but yeah, Elder on the left is a good sign. Obviously, at Hull last season.
100%. I mean, it links quite nicely, as you said, about potentially another left wing back. Of course, you've got Todd Kane, who can play on the right and the left, who I think is quite a good cover option for both sides.
Hmm. Yep. Next signing.
Joe Ward is probably the one I think in
That's the best one
pre-season.
so far.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. In
Yeah.
pre-season, he's shown what he can do. He's just a winger, isn't he? An old-fashioned winger. He can go down the pitch, cross it in, provide the service, and also he can get a corner in past the first man. So
Yeah.
something we've not had for a while. And the last one that's pretty irrelevant in my opinion is Josh Vickers as kind of backup third choice goalkeeper. So there's
Yeah,
not a lot
it's
really
handy
to
to
say on
have.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh no, I've
Connor
actually
Washington.
on a Washington. What are your thoughts on him?
I think he's kind of like David Nugent was when we had him. He's somebody that will press well, and I think he'll work well in the squad. If you can get 9 or 10 goals a season, then great. Obviously, that's what Collins got last season as kind of our backup striker. So I'm kind of expecting Collins to be a bit better this season. I think we will with the deliveries. Obviously, we've got Kane Wilson coming in as well as the right back from Bristol City. I think he's actually quite a good signing. Obviously, he got League 2 Player of the Year when he left Forest Green and didn't really have too much of a chance at Bristol City last season. So kind of a good deal with Knight just to get Wilson in with numbers.
Very true. And I mean, with Connor Washington, I mean, I said this to you when we started talking about the apparent hat trick behind closed doors, who Paul Warne wouldn't say who the opponent was last night on BBC Radio Derby, but that surely shows that hopefully he'll push James Collins and push the starting place in the squad. Is, of course, that's what we want. We want competition and we want fight for places to make the squad better.
I'd say we probably need another 1 or 2 strikers. I think we'll get one on loan. Obviously, we've got Brown coming in from the academy. So that's kind of going to be a 5th-ish, maybe a 4th choice. But I think we do need 1 or 2 more strikers at the minute just to give us some firepower, obviously, to replace McGoldrick.
100%. And I mean, apparently last night as well, of course, Warren gave Waghorn 70 minutes run out. So, of course, he
could be a 3rd or 4th option.
And I mean, as I looked at the squad numbers earlier and saw that 10's still available, no new sign kind of taken that number. So, of course, that hopefully gives the kind of illusion that we are going to get a number 10. We are going to get another striker, hopefully. Unless
we haven't spent any money. Like, these are all free signings. Like, there's kind of one with Washington if we get promoted, but I'm not too fussed about that. But like, in terms of actual money spent, you'd expect us to get maybe like $500,000 here and there on an extra striker or something. But I'll have to wait and see.
100%. I mean, it fits quite nicely with, of course, we know departure-wise, we've gained some money from Jason Knight. Of course, we could potentially rack up more money with Max Bird and the whole Hull City rumours. So
obviously Bielik.
Bielik as well, yeah.
What
if you could use all of that money to invest in a couple of players? Is there anyone particularly you have on your radar or on your mind that you would sign?
Not a particular player. I think it's kind of pointless saying I want that player exactly, because it's kind of like there's not really much point, because unless Paul Warne wants it, then it's kind of pointless to pick a name out. Is there anyone you've got off the top of your head?
I wouldn't say names, but I'd say definitely, if we're playing 3 at the back, another centre-back, because I feel like, especially with the injuries of Elder, left wing-back or left is going to be filled by Forsyth or Thompson for the start of the season. Whereas, of course, if there's an injury to Sonny Bradley or Nelson or Cashin in the back 3, that means Forsyth has to move in. So I think one more centre-back that has some experience, maybe someone coming to the end of their career like we had with Chester or Jagielka, someone that can just come in and do a 6, 7 out of 10 job if needed.
The thing is, we've got Jake Rooney, so I feel like Jake Rooney could be that choice as the back. Obviously, we give him a new contract, so that's the other way of going it. Obviously, Darren Robinson's been playing a bit as well in pre-season, obviously more of a midfielder. I'd just say strikers, really. That's kind of my worrying point, is Collins and Washington as the only 2. Obviously, Brown at the academy, but we just need more in that department, I think.
Would you think under the formation that he's potentially going to play that Mendes-Lang would fill that kind of backup strike around the striker area as well as another option?
I see the formation is a bit fluid, so it could, Mendes-Lang could be one of those. But I do think we do need another, still 1 or 2 strikers at least, to bring in the numbers. What's the next topic?
It was going to be, what's your predicted lineup for Wigan? So we were speaking about positions there, kind of. I've put down 11 names, and I'm putting you a bit off the cuff now because I didn't
Yep.
tell you to prepare an 11. But do you have one, or do you want
Off,
me to go
off the
first?
top of my head, I can work something out. Obviously, Wildsmith a goal.
Yeah.
Back three, probably Nelson, Sonny Bradley, and Cashin.
Yeah.
And then Ward on the right. And on the left, it'll probably have to be Forsyth. But I'm not 100% sure what we're going to do with that left wing back at the minute. Horahan and Bird in the middle. And then a front three of Mendes, Lang, Collins. He played Corey. I don't know if he's going to go with a front three, or it's going to be like 3 midfielders, then 2 attackers. Because I don't know if he's quite got the numbers for the 3 up top at the minute. So, yeah, it could be like a Corey Smith in the midfield, and then Mendes, Lang, and Collins up top. That's probably what we're looking at.
That's exactly what I went for.
Yeah.
That's exactly the same, bang on, literally player to player. And I said that the only question mark I had was if Sibley will play left wing back instead of Forsyth. That's the only thing.
Maybe. I think
he's
been a little bit injury ridden in pre-season, so I don't see Sibley getting those minutes this early.
No.
That's the one thing this squad, I feel we do need a bit more depth. We are a little bit weak, but I think we've still got plenty of time left in the window. I think there's a good month, isn't it? Basically, ends end of the month. So
yeah, exactly. And I mean, with the team selection that you've picked, and I mean, we've got the same, so both of us picked. Who would you think Paul Warne will give the captaincy to?
I think he's got to give it Sonny Bradley. I know Horahan and Forsyth have been here longer, but Bradley's just much more of a leader. And it's kind of like that new player coming in, like he's going to have to prove himself as the captain. So you give him the captaincy and he has to, kind of do it. Whereas Max Bird, I don't really see as a captain. So that's what I'd go for.
I can see that if Max Bird stays, of course, because he's had vice captaincy in the past, are they going to say, "Oh, you can be the new Derby County captain if you stay"? And that's kind of a staying for him to stay. And I could see that happening
Maybe
to kind of keep morale up and keep him there for another season.
I just feel like the amount that Hull are probably offering is probably not like maybe $1 million, if that. But I feel it's worth just keeping him for the season. And if we don't get promoted, then just let him go on a free. I'd rather do that than sell him for $1 million and try and replace him for this season. Because I think with the amount of numbers we've got, it's just not enough time.
It's not worth it. And with the formation as well, if we're having to play 3 in midfield, it's in the centre of the park as it is. It's, of course, Jason Knight could have done a job there, but Bielik could have done a job there. He's gone. So you've lost 2 there. If you want to lose a third, then there is no kind of...
Then you're kind of down to Thompson and Robinson starting. So if you lose Max Bird, that is. So I just don't see that happening, really.
No, 100%. What do you see as your score prediction for that game?
I'm not really because Wigan have been in a bit of free fall. So I'm not 100% sure what their team's looking like right now, to be frankly honest.
They've lost 2 players this week.
Watmore, wasn't it?
Yeah, so they've lost 2 of their best players then. They know that they've got the points deduction kind of looming. So I feel like they're either going to go out and state a point, but I feel like our squad, if we go out with the 11 that we've said, can do a job on them and pin them back.
Especially at home. Yeah. I feel like a good 2-0 win. I think that's a fair result.
I've said 2-1 and them getting a consolation goal.
Yeah.
Hopefully that happens. And kind of moving on to my last point was going to be, what's your hopes and aspirations for the season? So where could you see us realistically finishing, or ideally, of course, you'd want promotion like any Derby fan, but realistically, where do you see Derby finishing?
I think if we get 2 or 3 more signings, then we can get top 2. It's about getting these good quality 2 or 3 players left. because at the minute it's like, as you said, Wigan have got a points deduction. Reading are a bit like they've got a transfer embargo now. I know they've got a few players in that like week period. But I don't see like the teams that have come down are much weaker than the teams got promoted. So it's like us, Bolton, and Barnsley, and maybe Peterborough. They're kind of threats for the season.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, realistically, we want top.
yeah,
Like, we want top two, but I'd be happy going playoffs as I feel like we could do a job. And Paul Warne has been in a situation of promotion battles
yeah,
a lot of time with Rotherham
mm-hmm.
to get them promoted and push that last step. So I feel like during pre-season when he's spoken, he speaks about pushing them further fitness-wise and improving fitness levels of all the players, even the ones that are coming in, to show that if you need to do them extra 3 or 4 games at the end of the season, we will do them to, of course, get up. And that's the mentality balance that we didn't have at the start of last season to this season is, of course, there was uncertainty of who was managing. Of course, really went out class at just taking over the club, where I think Derby's very much settled down and it's calmed down and there's no spotlight on the club anymore. So we can just kind of play our football and kind of hope for success, basically.
Yeah. I just hope we get good loan players, really. I think one of those will be a striker from the Championship. Like, I can't even think of like who it would be, but somebody that could get a good 10, 15 goals. Like, the problem is with Asula, like, he was doing well, but then Sheffield United called him back. So it kind of stopped that development. So I think we need somebody for the full season. And yeah, hopefully. Well, I just want top 2 because I think we're good enough with the players that we've got, and then the extra 2 or 3 to get top 2. So I don't see why we can't.
100%, and I feel like if we stay in League One for next season as well, and we don't get promoted this season, I feel like you've got the likes of like Notts County and Wrexham kind of just being able to find very good players.
Overlappers, basically.
Exactly. So we need to kind of push on and not let them catch us up, or I feel like we're just going to be stuck and be in a bit of a rotten place. We need to do what Wolves did, like, and Sunderland, and kind of build our team back and then progress. Then we can, of course, get the right players in and get the right ethos in. Is there anything you want to add, Luke?
Not really. I think we've said everything we needed to. And yeah, hopefully we can talk about this after the Wigan match, and we with 3 points. I'll be sat in the East stand watching. I'm sure we'll sure we should win. But yeah, hopefully you did enjoy the video. Make sure you drop a like and a sub if you are new to the channel, of course. Let us know some topics you want to talk about. Obviously, once we get some more stuff happening at the club, we'll update, and yeah, we'll catch you all next time.
Sweet, thank you.